Hello, how is everyone doing today? Hopefully, if you're here now, if you can hear me, go ahead and let me know in the chat. If you can't, definitely please let me know as well. I'll give it a couple minutes for some people to join, and then we can go ahead and kick off this session. We will give it another minute. Tyler Scott, how's it going? Glad you can make it. Hopefully you learned something tonight. So thanks for joining me on a Saturday, on a weekend. Yeah, not doing too bad myself. You can see us have Christmas sweater on. Had a late Christmas party that got postponed from last week to this week because upstate New York weather was pretty crazy this week. A lot of snow, so just hanging in there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I will say, if you have any questions as we're going through things, if you're here, or if you're watching this later on, you can always send a comment, ask a question. It doesn't matter. At the end, we'll definitely have a Q&A session. So if I don't see your question while I'm going through these profiles, or it's kind of unrelated to a LinkedIn profile, I still want to answer your question, but we'll kind of leave those separate questions for the end, just so we could keep our focus here and you can take notes, just watch, learn a thing or two, doesn't matter. So to start, I want to go over two things really. What we're doing here to kind of preface what we're doing in case you didn't join from a community or the LinkedIn when I shared about this live session, and why we're doing this. So first of all, what we're doing tonight is going over 5 LinkedIn profiles for people who were in my free data community called Analyst Hive. They submitted their LinkedIn profiles for me to give them live feedback on this session. So if you're not a part of Analyst Hive, it's free. It's a data community. There's about 1,800 people there right now. Come say hi. There's nothing for you to lose. So if you do come say hi, definitely tag me. Happy to chat there after this session as well. So I want to talk about why we're doing this and why it's so important for someone who's getting into the data field or really anything in tech or using LinkedIn as your primary vehicle to get a job, because your LinkedIn profile is pretty much a landing page for you, and it's where you sell yourself. So that's why it's so important for you to get a LinkedIn profile correct, not just have one, but you can optimize it in certain ways that makes it come off as better or more active, because this should be a running document, kind of, or like a running resume, not just a stagnant profile that you just created because you wanted to use a job board on LinkedIn. If the LinkedIn profile is on a resume, which most likely it is, they're going to look you up before they even reach out to you. So you want to make sure when they're getting the little extra insights on you that you put your best foot forward, and a LinkedIn profile is just how you do that. They're going to go here before they go to your portfolio. They might go here before they look at your projects to get a little insights if you're even a fit, if there's just so many variables. But I will say having a strong LinkedIn profile will do you so much better than having nothing at all. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the first one. So, again, we're going over 5 of them. That should take up good majority of the hour, but if you have any questions, just throw it in the chat and we'll go over them. Let me go ahead and see how we screen share because I've never done YouTube Live before. So give me 1 second. I will just do my entire screen. So, all right. So you should see my profile right now. And we'll go to our first person, Jared. So Jared Vorneveld, if I butchered that last name, I apologize. I will probably be butchering all 5 of these names, to be honest. But how this is going to work is we're just going to work our way top down. So the first thing that we see together is essentially the first thing a recruiter or a hiring manager, whoever, will see when they go to your profile. So this will give you good insights if you're not one of these 5 people of what to focus on, because this will help you out no matter who you are. But I wanted to just go through these 5, give you some real time live feedback. So here, first of all, kudos for having a non-standard LinkedIn banner. So we call this a banner. You can call it, I think it's called something else too sometimes, but I call it a LinkedIn banner profile picture. It's not a picture, but this is good. But I think we are missing an opportunity here to highlight a little bit more about yourself. So I like to go simple with things. I want to give you a good example. So this person has a very minimalistic banner, which she put her name, the roles she's aiming for, and then she put her tech stack or the tools that she's aiming to use for her first data job. So you can see here SQL, Excel, and R. You can put whatever you want. And it is also perfectly acceptable to just use the words. So if you just wanted to put SQL, Excel, or R, or Python, or whatever, you could put that here too. So people do ask, where do you find this? So I want to show you a super easy way. You could do this in like 5 minutes. Let me go over here. So Canva, you do not need the premium subscription to Canva. So all you have to do is literally type in LinkedIn banner like I did here, and it will give you a whole bunch of them. I'm pretty sure I've even used this one when I first started. So what we're aiming for is something super simple. You don't need anything too busy. Once you start getting like this one right here or this one down here, that's way too busy. We just want people to know who we are, what we're about, and that's it. Like really quick. Because people aren't spending too much time here. So they're going to make their decision within the first couple seconds. So pick one of these. Tons of free ones here, and they're already in the right sizing format that you need. So like if you wanted this one, for instance, change the name, change interior designer, put data analyst here, put the tech stack you're using right under that, load it to LinkedIn, call it a day. You don't need to spend a ton of time here. But that's exactly what I would do if I wanted a quick LinkedIn banner. Second thing people are going to notice is your profile picture. So I don't have anything I would change with this profile picture. This is exactly what I would want to see in a profile picture. Smiling, doesn't look like a mug shot really, plain background. So what I want to emphasize here, since I wouldn't change this one, but for those people who want to update theirs or they do need to change it, you don't need a professional to do this. You can do like mine. Mine was done with an iPhone 12 in my backyard at my old house. So I just went out in the middle of the day, smiled. My wife took the picture. Um, it doesn't need to be complicated, but what we're aiming for is like shoulder or a little bit higher. And you want to get kind of uncomfortably close where your face and shoulder take up the whole picture. Um, if you can see somewhere like this person, they're off to the side. You can't even tell who that is, but you see someone's face, like this person here, it's just their face. So a lot of people are on the phone, they're not always on a desktop. So you want to keep that in mind that you want to fill out this circle as much as you can. So this is like a perfect example of what to do. It's kind of like how mine is. You can get closer to where it is just your face, but you don't want to be so far away, like even this person, which it's their whole like knees and up. You can't see that person. So you just want to come off as more personable. And to do that, you get really close to the camera. So, second here, so if we go down, next thing people see is a title. So this is what's right under your name. Here, I wouldn't change a thing either. So what we're aiming for is to not have your whole tech stack listed out like SQL, Excel, Python, R, Google Sheets, and whatever you use. You don't want a large list here. You just want it simple. So again, over to the side, you don't want all of this stuff. First of all, it gets dropped off if it's too long. And simple beats a chaotic title any day. So moving down, I want to say this link right here. So this came up when I was talking to one of my students the other week. This is a paid feature that LinkedIn has done recently and hid it behind the paywall of you have to be a premium subscriber to LinkedIn to have this link there. You can see he's not because there's no orange LinkedIn logo here. But that's because if you've had it previous to their change, it will stay there at least for now. So I have it there too, and I'm not a premium member. But if I remove this, I would have no way to put it back. So if you have this, utilize it. If you don't, you have to put it within your contact info, which is really dumb, but that's really how we have to work around it, unless you pay for it. So if you do have this link here, definitely link to your portfolio, which is perfect that he's doing that here. I can see in the bottom left that it's to his own Wix site. So he has a separate website that he created for himself just for his portfolio. That's great. That's going above and beyond. You don't have to do that, but that's fantastic. We won't go into that because that could be another session of just portfolios in themselves. But moving on, you've been following me for almost 3 years, so we should connect. The next thing is our About Me section. So here's where I see a lot of opportunity. And you can see just looking at this, it's 2 big blocks of text. I'm not going to read it right now. And I guarantee other people or even people interested are not going to read all of this. It's too much. That's 2 big paragraphs, to be honest. So while there is good information here, I think you need to break it out to be more readable. I am no wordsmith. So what I would do is go to ChatGPT. I'd copy exactly what you have here and say, I need this to be more concise. I need to have more line breaks in between sentences. I know it's not really how people write things out, but it's how social media needs to be read. And that's what I would do. So you don't have to change what you have here. You just need to change the formatting of it and make sure it's just more readable. Another opportunity that a lot of people don't do here in the About Me section is you can put a link. Now, won't be a clickable link, but you can put a link to your portfolio here. You could put a link to your email if you wanted to, or even, yeah, I think that's it. Your portfolio and email. I don't want to put anything else there. Um, yeah. So outside of that, if we move on, so here, the next section's activity, but this is where we can add another section. So if we go back to my profile real quick, between my about me and my activity is a featured section. So this is where Jared or anyone who doesn't have a featured section and you want to get into data, enable the feature section. Pay attention to what I'm going to show you right now because you need to put this on your profile now. So if I'm going to show you exactly where to go. So if we go to the very top of your own profile, you will see this button that says add profile section. I don't know why they hide it, but it is in recommended. If you click this, you could add featured. So I already have it, obviously, but if you click this, it would look like this, but blank without my link or without your links there. What you're going to do is, if we go back and look at it, you want to add 3 links here. So if you have 3 portfolio projects, link individual projects here. And don't go over 3, because if you go over 3, you're going to have a little scroll arrow here, and then it's not going to be as symmetrical. I think 3 is a perfect number that you want. You're also going to want to create thumbnails for these. So when you add a link, let's see. I can't save it, but if you add a link, they give you the option to upload a picture. If not, they're just going to grab whatever's from the website and you don't have any control over it. But if you make them all the same size, it's nice and symmetrical like this. You could give it a little description, and then that could link this. This acts as a separate way for a person to enter your portfolio, and that's really where you want to drive people to. So link individual projects here. Now, you don't have to add the thumbnail per se, but I want to stress that going above and beyond and doing those little extra details, they all build up. They all matter in a way if you want to stand out, and they make you just that much better than that next person. While it might not come off that way because it's such a subtle difference, if you have 2 people that are just the same, but this one did the extra mile on a handful of things, they might be swayed to pick that person. So I would encourage you, do that extra step. It doesn't take too much time. You can knock out a LinkedIn profile in a day, not even a full day, obviously. But add your featured section, add 3 linking to individual projects on your portfolio, give them a thumbnail. So next would be, so your activity. So I do see you posting, and you're posting, you're learning. You're posting about what you're learning. So DBT fundamentals, hands-on essential for Snowflake. So great stuff. People love to see it. Don't worry about engagement and likes and all that stuff. What you want here is you want to show that you're an active profile. So you can see this was 2 months ago. No one's going to go into your comments or images. So that doesn't really matter if you're active in that sense. But if you're posting, I'm not saying become a content creator and post 7 days a week, but post once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. The more you post, the more visibility your profile gets, more people that visit your profile. So definitely post more often if you can. It's not a necessity, but I will say anyone that I've ever talked to that posts consistently on LinkedIn about their journey and learning and all that stuff, it has turned into multiple opportunities. for a number of things. It will help you get a job. It will help you get another job after you already in data. Um, if it becomes something, you will get paid sponsorship opportunities. Like it can take you so many different directions by just sitting at the computer on your phone, posting about data analytics, what you're learning, what's cool, what's happening. It's it's not too hard and you don't need to put too much thought into it, but just show up and post will change your life. And I'm a great example of that because it has changed my life too. So definitely post more often if you can. Let's see. Next, we will move down to our experience section. So we have, I would just want to expand these real quick. So I am glad you are filling out your experience section here. What I would do is probably make these in like a list format, almost like you would do on your resume. Maybe just put some bullets here or some dashes because it comes off as this is a big block of text. And while to me it's obvious, I know a new line is going to be like a new line item, but you don't want to assume that. Just make it more readable, and doing a little dash or a bullet point here will go a long way. I don't want to dive too deep into actually like what we say here, but you just want to be concise in what you're saying, highlight your, I guess you want to quantify your achievements, which that's kind of hard to do. Sometimes you can't really do it. So you kind of have to make it up just a little bit, but be honest with it. So don't just list out what you did. You want to highlight what the outcome of what you did was, if that made sense. So I think what you're doing in here is great. Let's just read one real quick, actually. Standardizing metrics, strengthening data quality checks. Okay, this is something, this line right here. You improved reporting accuracy by standardizing metrics and strengthening data quality checks. Okay, that's something you did. But what was the outcome of this? I know it improved reporting accuracy, but can we quantify that? How much did it improve it? Did it save time? Those little things on how it affects the business overall, or even if it is a little effect of the business, put it here because that's what people want to know. Like, did you help the business move forward in any way or improve the business? So little things like that is highlight. I do it across the board. So you learned some at Maven. They're great guys over there. So kudos to you there. Same thing. You got a ton of great information here. Bullet point it, quantify your achievements. I think you'll be good to go. Let's see. Outside of that, you got certificates, skills. I really don't think people are going to be scrolling this far down, but I want to change anything else. The one last thing I wanted to point out here is your URL, which obviously don't change it, but you did make a custom URL and not the one that LinkedIn gives you automatically. So kudos to you there. So that ate up about 25 minutes. So let's go through the other ones a little bit quicker. Hopefully, if you stuck around for that one, that should give you great insights. We'll kind of go through the same sections on other people's profile. So that should give you a little insight on where to start for your own profile. So number 2, let me pull it up real quick. All right. And again, if you have any questions about anything we've been going through, please throw it in the chat. Would love to have this be a back and forth banter with you guys. So definitely let me know if you have something. Next up, we have Vaishnavi. I'm not even going to try. Sorry if I butchered that. But again, we have, just like Jared, we have a kind of outdoor scenery profile banner. So here we'll go top down. So here, another opportunity to sell yourself. What I would do is go to Canva, go ahead and get you a simplistic LinkedIn banner. Again, over here, just search LinkedIn banner. Pick one of these, take 2 seconds, put your name, put your tech stack there. You don't need the logo. You could just put words and you should be good to go. Profile picture would be the second thing we see. So here we do see smile outside. That's fine. I would like to see this a little bit closer. I think it's just a little far. Again, if we look at other people on the sidebar, this person is probably the distance you want to be, because you could see a little bit top shoulder and you see their face. It's taking up the circle. This person might be a little too close. And that's kind of what we're aiming for, is shoulder up and just your head. So that's what I would change there. Next up would be your title. So here it's a bit long. If there was a way to shorten this in any shape or form, I would probably do it. But honestly, in this scenario, you could probably keep it, because you're not just listing out tools, you are kind of listing out domains. So this is a little bit better as far as a title goes. If you're having a longer one, I do see a couple tools in there like Power BI, ArcGIS, and SQL. So technically, if you wanted to take those 3 out and just keep your like domain titles, I'd probably just do that. I see that you are a LinkedIn Premium member, so you do have the opportunity to put a link here. So if you were to do that, if you are a premium user, let me go back to mine. You click this pencil icon on your profile. You have to scroll all the way down and you'll see the section website. You go ahead and put your link there and then your link text, and then it will just look like that. So definitely put that there. You've been following me since 2022. That's awesome. Here again, we don't have a featured section because it goes right into activity. So, and actually, you don't have an about me section. So first of all, add an about me section. They are hard to write, especially if you're not used to writing often. If you're like me, you have a ton of trouble doing that. But I had to come up with mine pre-ChatGPT, but I would say use ChatGPT to help you come up with one, or at least brainstorm an about me. Make it short and sweet. Highlight your achievements, your tech stack, really what you're aiming for. But you don't want it to seem AI written. So have AI write it, but then write it in your own words, or adjust it as needed. So after that, add your featured section. Again, if you go to your profile, add profile section, go to recommended, add featured. Very simple. Add individual links. So if you have 1 to 3 portfolio projects, go ahead and add them as a separate link for each one of them, and then create a thumbnail to add for each one of those links. So it comes off as professional and simplistic and symmetrical. I'm telling you, it will do you wonders to do this extra step. So next up would be activity. I do see you post when something happens, so which is great. Again, I'd recommend posting more frequently. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but you just want to show that you're active, you're in the data community. You can even comment on other people and have other data influencers, if you want to call them that, like take inspiration from their posts, and how can you post about what you're learning in a way that can get attention to you? Because ultimately, what we're doing here is trying to get more eyes on your profile. And to do that passively, well, semi-passively, is you post on LinkedIn just what you're learning, what you're interested in, what you find cool about SQL. Maybe you don't find it cool, but what function do you know more about than you did 2 weeks ago? Something like that. It doesn't really matter. If you need a little help with that, come join me in Analyst Hive, ask a question about content creation. Happy to help you out. Been doing it for years. I could probably give you a ton of insights on what to share on LinkedIn, especially if you're going into data. So here is a great example of what I meant by adding a dash into your experience section. So it's a little bit more readable. If we go back to Jared's, you can see it looks like one big block of text, but we know that it is broken out by lines. If you just did this would be a great way to break out that big old block of text, and people know automatically that it is just a list format for what you're doing. So recommendation here would be describe your outcomes again. So investigate arboviral diseases. I don't even know what that is, but okay, that is what you did. So you put also complete data requests. That's not telling me what kind of data requests or what was the outcome for those data requests. This just says you did what you were told, which is great. That's what we're all going to do. But we just want to highlight what was the achievements for doing what you were told in this scenario. So just give a little more insight on what we're doing here. Just give it some more thought. I know it's kind of hard to just think about what you did maybe a year ago, but definitely give some thought and highlight those achievements. And if we scroll down, okay, you have education's great, license certification's great. I don't think anyone really goes this far down past your work experience, but it doesn't hurt to put things there. So fantastic. And then lastly, you have your URL, your custom URL, and it's your name, so it's very readable. And that's all I would change on yours. Let's see. Let's move on to our third person. After them, we still have two more. And hopefully these are giving some of you some good use cases, some different, I know we're going over the same sections, but they are different ways of adjusting these profiles. And I'm hoping that one of these are similar to yours if you're watching, that you can just take away some like key action items to go change yours as well. But like I said, any questions, come ask me in the Data Community Analyst Hive. I'll be happy to help you. So here is Ashmita Nagam. Sorry if I butchered that. Let's start with our banner. So this is great. You're listing a whole bunch of tools. So I'm just happy that it's not the standard LinkedIn one. So here, again, go to Canva, get you a simple banner, put your name, put a tech stack like you list out in your title here. So just put these three there. You don't need to go crazy. You could even go not just tech stack, but also if you go back to my previous student, you could put data analyst and project manager there. So just put three things. It doesn't need to be crazy. So here we have a picture. You're smiling, you're outside, so great lighting. You could bring your head or your picture down a little bit so it cuts off right here at the shoulder, and maybe I don't know if LinkedIn gives you the option. It's been a while since I've updated mine, but kind of crop it or zoom in a little bit so you don't have to retake one if you don't want to, um, just to get a little bit closer on your head. Again, does it matter? Yes and no, but it's those little things and all of these little attention to details, they add up, they compound, and they're definitely going to make you stand out a little bit more. So that's what I would recommend for your picture. Here, I would say if we move down to our title, I would say cut it back a little bit. So we are doing data analytics and business insights, customer retention and journey analytics. So I know why people do this because I did it when I first started out. You see this title as an area to be putting in keywords, right? But this isn't really how recruiters are looking for people. So if I was looking for a data analyst, first of all, they look for location first, especially if it's an on-site position. Location would be first. Second would be data analyst. So that's the, even if you're not currently a data analyst, you want to portray yourself as a data analyst because even though you've been learning, you're still a data analyst. Let's just be real. So if you just put data analyst and business insights, that's all you have to add, because when people look that up for people in this location, that's what they're looking for, these keywords in a title. Because when you actually become a data analyst or data engineer, whatever it is in data, you're going to update your title to say data analyst at mastermind.com or data analyst or data consultant at stratosconsulting.com, or not .com, but Stratos Consulting. You'll see that you can pinpoint people based on their title on if they're an actual data analyst, like an employee data analyst is what I mean, or someone who's trying to become one. It's because someone who's trying to become one keyword stuffs their titles. Someone who is a regulatory operation business analyst 3 puts that as their title. So we want to do the latter and put yourself as the title you're trying to be. So that's what I would like to see here in someone. So if we go to another great example, back to my student, she's not currently a data analyst, but she lists the domain titles of the position she wants to become. So that's what I would recommend anyone to do if you're not currently a data analyst. Again, you're a premium member of LinkedIn, so go ahead and add your website here, a website to your portfolio. If you don't have one and just have like a Tableau public, definitely just link to your Tableau public. That's what I used to start with before I actually had a free portfolio on Maven Analytics or Maven Showcase. So that is a way you can go. Moving down, you have an About Me section. So this is quite large when I expanded it. I do like how you broke it out. But it is a little daunting to even want to go and read all of this. First of all, I don't have time to read all this. And I know if someone like a recruiter, they're going through hundreds of resumes. And if they want to look at yours, they're probably not going to sit here for 10 minutes to read your About Me section. They just want to get to know if you're a right fit for that position, and they want to know it really quickly so they can go check other candidates as well. So what I would do, again, take this because I'm sure you have great information here. You might have used ChatGPT to create this, but I would say prompt engineer this About Me section and say, give me, I would even say 4 sentences, but break it out, make it more human-like, and just focus on what an about me needs to be if I am an aspiring data analyst, and what is most important for a recruiter to see if they were to see my LinkedIn profile. So you don't want to go into specifics of like what you want it to be. You want to be kind of that vague scenario, and then let ChatGPT curate that scenario and that output for you. And then that's what you're going to take, read, write in your own words, and use that. So, and then I would not even include core strengths, because they'll probably get these strengths from those couple sentences, and they should get this technically from your resume anyways. So I wouldn't list this much here. So I do see you have a featured section. Give me 1 second, take some water. I don't normally talk for an hour straight. So here's a great example of when you have too much on your featured section. Remember I said that you'll get this little arrow which scrolls over, and then you even have this once you have so many. It's a whole theory on how people think and read things. So when there's too much, it turns people away. As a data analyst, you want to focus people on where to go. And even if you like explicitly tell people where to look, because that is how, honestly, how you build dashboards too, right? You highlight the KPIs you want them to look at. You storytell with the dashboard. You want to do that with your LinkedIn profile. So if you have too many featured sections, it's too chaotic. I don't know where to go unless I sat here and read each individual one. So it looks like you are putting posts of you when you're posting what you have learned or achieved and got badges for learning Databricks, Udemy, great place for courses, AWS Data Analytics Fundamental course. So you have great stuff here. I would encourage keep posting, which you are doing, but instead of putting these achievements here, which you highlight on your resume, I'm sure in some way or form, those aren't too important. I'd rather see projects that people go to so they could see your actual work, not just these certificates or course completions. But that's just my recommendation. If you were to just keep these, I would say put your best 3 forward and not have so many here, just to give it that symmetry that we're shooting for. Outside of that, it looks like you are posting, which is fantastic. So 3 days ago, if we just take a look, you got a month ago, now it goes back to a year. So pretty infrequently, but you do post when you need to post. So recommendation here, which would be a common thing you'd hear tonight, is definitely post more often when you can. Not saying you have to be a content creator, but once a week, spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes making a post of what you learned the previous week, what you struggled through when you're trying to land a job in data. Again, if you ever need help with that, shoot me a message. Happy to help. If we move down to our experience, I do see you've been a data analyst for quite some time at multiple different places, which is great. You have a ton of experience, but you're not listing out what you've done at each position, what you have achieved, why you got raises or promotions. So it looks like you moved positions within each company, which is fantastic. I would definitely highlight everything you're doing. Obviously, you're doing something right. So I would just focus on trying to get that down on paper, think back of what you've done, and put it here as bullet points. Outside of that, this is great. You have a lot here as projects you have down here. Again, I don't think many people are going this far down to see projects or the skills. So I see you're putting a lot of work in here. I would like to just do little tweaks to what you're doing up here. And more doesn't mean better. I think less equals better because you can start swaying people towards certain areas of your profile that you want them to go look at. So definitely tighten it up a little bit. So let's check the chat real quick. So LinkedIn has been wishy-washy with a custom URL. I guess I would love to understand what you mean there, Tyler. I think you have to be, if I'm not mistaken, if you haven't done a custom URL, if you go to your profile, if you look in the top right, public profile and URL. So you just click that pencil icon. And I think you have to be very specific on what you can and cannot use. Luckily, I'll just use my name because no one else really has my last name. So if you have a more common name, that might be a little bit more difficult. But that's where you go to change it for anyone who didn't know. So someone asked, can you share some solid Udemy or Coursera courses that would look good on LinkedIn? Also, do you recommend Data Camp? Absolutely, all of those. So, actually, Udemy is great because you can purchase a course for when they're on sale, and the courses are on sale every week. So just wait for a sale or do a little hacky way and log into udemy.com, not even log in, but go to udemy.com in incognito mode. And I bet there will be a sale going on. And you just take that sale code, plop it into your checkout, and you'll get a course for probably under $20 for any given course. So real quick, courses, if you're looking for Tableau, Maven Analytics, Tableau Desktop for data analysis and data visualization. Fantastic course there. If you're looking for SQL, also Maven Analytics. So I like to buy Maven Analytics courses, as you can see, on Udemy versus going to a subscription model on mavenanalytics.com because I'll have this course forever. And I could buy it for $15 to $20 instead of paying $30 a month or whatever it is to do that. My first SQL course was this one by Jose Portilla, the Complete SQL Bootcamp. Very in depth. I think this thing was like 20 hours long. I don't know. It was a very long. I learned this years ago. If you are looking for Excel, Kyle Pugh would be a fantastic Excel course. I did get this Google Sheets masterclass because one of my jobs was learning Google Sheets. So I wanted to learn a little bit more. Leela over here, fantastic person to follow as well as take her course. One I didn't get to finish, but if you go to Jed Gunto, I'm probably butchering that, but find this Get Hired 2026 Tableau SQL Agile Job Hunting Skills. This course right here, how he teaches Tableau is more fun than I've ever had in a course. So that would be a fantastic one. And if you're into making EDM, you can check out this one. But Python's huge is what I learned first. I took this one by Jose Portilla, Python Masterclass. This is a ton of hours. I don't know why it's only showing 16, probably because I never checked off individual sections, but fantastic course to go through. And you also said Coursera. So they have the data analytics certificate for Coursera, which is a good course or certificate to take if you don't know anything about data. That's a great intro, but I will say it takes forever to finish it. It's like a 6-month course or something, and it doesn't hold any like meat in getting you hired anywhere. So just be cautious when you're taking that. you will have to supplement that course because it doesn't go deep enough in the individual tools that you learn within that course. So take that with a grain of salt. I would much rather go to Udemy, learn a tool, and have a course dedicated to that tool where I know the ins and outs of SQL than taking the Coursera Google course and only learning like 1 foot deep into it. Like you're dipping your toes into SQL versus really taking a deep dive into SQL. Um, that's just SQL, for example. I would do that for any tool I'm going to learn. And that's actually how I do any tool I continue to learn, even nowadays. So you also mentioned Data Camp. So Data Camp is huge for me when I first got my first data job, mainly because they have an app on the phone. So I would be able to not only watch courses or read whatever they have within those courses in the app while I'm at work, because I worked a warehouse job before I became a data analyst. I would be able to learn SQL and do SQL on my phone. Granted, it's not the best to type away and do SQL select statements and all that stuff, or doing join tables and stuff. But I was still able to do it when I didn't have a laptop near me. So that's why I love Data Camp. I will always recommend them because I use them when I couldn't get to a computer and when I had a full-time job. So, and they have these paths you can take, which just kind of takes your mind on what you should learn, and you just follow that path on Data Camp, and then you don't have to think about anything else besides just learning. But I will recommend, do not get into a course rut. Take one course per tool, and don't just keep taking advanced courses. Take a course, build projects, get to applying, because that takes the longest. All right, so that would be it for this person. If anyone else has questions, definitely throw them in the chat. Happy to go through them. I did say this would be probably around an hour, but it looks like we'll be a little bit over, which is totally fine. We'll just keep rolling with what we have. So you're all welcome to stick around and see what else we could learn. So let's go to our fourth person. So here, let's start with our banner. So you have a data related banner, which is fantastic. But as you can see, it's a little too big, so things get cut off. So we have a chart, bar chart, and then we have a pie chart. I would say scrap this, just to be blunt. Scrap it. Again, go to Canva, get a free LinkedIn banner. Simple. Put your name, put the job title you're going for, and then put your tech stack underneath that. Nothing crazy, just nice and simple. You have an open to work banner here on your profile picture. People like to put it, people don't like to put it. I don't care either way, but also I'm not a hiring manager, so definitely do what's best for you. I'm not swayed either way. I don't think it matters too much, but it also doesn't not matter. So definitely put it if you want to. The position and how close we are is perfect for your profile picture. So I wouldn't change that at all. I even like that you are slightly above, especially since we are using the open to work banner here. If we move down to our title, so here is an example of where it gets a little too busy because you listed out all of your tools that you've learned or trying to learn or whatever. So we have data analyst, business analyst. You could probably just pick one. You don't need to put both. SQL, Excel, Power BI, Python, Pandas. So this tech stack altogether, take it out. And then you can just leave computer and system science student at Stockholm University, because I think that's something great to just keep there. It shows your education, that you're a student, and stuff like that. So data analyst, computer and system science student at Stockholm University. Keep it simple. So then that will cut out a good line amount. So they'll have a nice simple title there. Outside of that, you are a premium, and then I did notice that you do have a link here. So you have a GitHub, so I'm assuming that's your portfolio. So for this, I will just, a lot of people have GitHub. I would say 50% of people that I come across have a GitHub account as their portfolio, where they house all their projects. The downfall with a GitHub is the readability of a GitHub. So if I just click on this, so we have our repositories, which would be your projects, right? This is where people go when they first click on your link. And then, yes, they can go into here, blah, blah, blah. But if you had like a Maven showcase, it would look a little bit different. We don't need to dive too far into that, but you can, if you have GitHub, you might as well do a GitHub pages where it just gives you a better layout on how you present your projects. But here we'll just focus in on, we'll focus in on what we can improve on our LinkedIn profile. So while you do have your GitHub account here, if you go, I'm go back to my profile, this pencil icon, go all the way down. You just need to add your link text here. So if you don't add your link text, it will just show up as your URL. So if you just put this as my portfolio or something like that, it will change it right there and look a little bit more presentable. Outside of that, let's scroll down. I keep clicking that. I don't know why. Our About Me section, again, a little too wordy. While it is broken out into 4 paragraphs, I would say just a quick glance, tons of keyword stuffing, which is not a bad thing, but I think we could just present it a little better. As a data analyst, currently focused on executing end-to-end cleaning, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you have a lot of experience doing things. I would just say, again, take this, throw it at ChatGPT, have it come out more concise and more outcome driven on how we present what we're trying to present here. And I won't go into too much detail on that, but I'm sure you can figure that out. You are a smart person. It goes about me to the activity. So for you, again, I will recommend doing the featured section. If you have joined a little late in this chat or this session, you want to add this featured section right here, 3 projects, that individual projects that link right to your portfolio. And then add a thumbnail to go above and beyond everyone else. And then that will take care of your featured section, your activity. So you're posting certificates, which is fantastic. Job seekers beware. So stay safe because there are scammers, which yes, there are tons of scammers out there. So definitely be careful. So you don't post too often, but you do post every now and then. But it's mainly achievements or courses or something, or certificates that you've done. Again, recommendation here, post once a week. Just make it look a little bit more active. Don't put too much thought into it. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Just say something and be a little active. Experience section, love to see bullet points. Definitely more readable. I would say maybe cut back how many bullet points we have, because we're not going to go through all of them. And I know a recruiter is not going to go through all of them. So highlight your like 4 bullet points per job that you've had. Pick your best 4. And really, okay, here's a great example. help restaurant by reducing waste by 5%. So if you have the outcome, but you're not telling me how you help the restaurant reduce the waste by 5%. So this is a great example of quantifying your achievements. But you're just missing what you did to get that achievement. So I would just think back, how did you help the restaurant reduce waste by 5%? And then list that as your bullet point. Do that for the other ones as well and your other previous positions, and just cut it back a little bit. Excuse me. Outside of that, you have your certifications. It all looks good. Following Nick Singh, he's a cool guy. Has a great book on Amazon. But yeah, if we go back to the last thing, which would be our URL. I think this one is a custom one, but if you are allowed to change that, I would probably change it to your name. If it's taken, try to do an underscore or a dash or something like that, just to have it come up in a more presentable format. And that's all I would change for you, my friend. And with that, we will go to our very last person for the night, which would be Andalib. So here, we'll start with a banner. First of all, this is an example of not having one versus if you did have one like this. So first of all, that will just make your profile look 10 times better by adding a profile banner here. Again, Canva, use a free account, get a simple LinkedIn banner, put your name, title you're aiming for, your tech stack. You could do the logos or use the words of the actual tech stack you're using, or the tools, I mean, and just pick something simple. Take 5 minutes. Picture, it's black and white. I'm not against it. A lot of people do it, so totally fine. Close. You don't have to change it. I probably wouldn't unless you wanted a more up-to-date one, which I don't know if that's up to date or not. I'm just saying. Outside of that, we do have a title that is one line. So we have market research professional, Tableau desktop specialist. Now, if you were to say Tableau desktop specialist, I'm assuming you took you're certified as a desktop specialist, because that is a certification. Microsoft Power BI and SQL. So you could probably shorten that if you wanted to put your tech stack here. And honestly, I probably wouldn't myself. Actually, from becoming a data analyst, I would just put data analyst here, and maybe even market research professional, or just market research. I don't know if professional is really helping us out here. But if you were to keep a tech stack here, just put Tableau, Power BI, SQL. The thing is, again, no one's looking for your title with these tools in your title. That doesn't matter too much when someone's trying to find someone. But if you wanted to put something there, I would keep it simpler than what you have. So, okay, you do not have a link here, but you're not a premium member. I guess I failed to mention where it goes now. So if you were to add a website, this is the only place you can add your portfolio if you were to have a newer account or something like that, or don't have access to put that website link on your profile. It lives in this contact info section, which it's pretty much hidden. You might as well not add it there. But if you needed to add it somewhere, add it there. And I don't even think you can adjust the link. It has to be the whole URL, which kind of sucks. But We got to work with what we have. So if we look down at our About Me section, here it looks shorter, which is great. And I think you are the first person to actually put your connect with me. So you have your LinkedIn profile here, your Tableau profile, which could be used as a portfolio. And then you're upgrading your portfolio, looking forward to publishing it in January. Well, that's this month. So hopefully we can see it. If you need help with that, definitely let me know in the analyst side. Love to help you out there. But here we do have key skills section. So this is like a whole paragraph of keyword stuffing to me as a kind of marketer, which is not necessary. You can put these keywords in like how you are going about presenting yourself on what tools you do know. And honestly, this is too broad. I would love to see you tighten the core key skills that you have around Tableau, Excel, Power BI, or whatever. Pick a BI tool. So it doesn't need to be Tableau and Power BI. They're interchangeable. And Excel, you don't even have to put Excel. You can put spreadsheets. But I would just focus on a handful of tools, not all the tools, and then functions within the tools and little things like that, because those should be given, especially if they were to look at your portfolio. Now, if you only have a Tableau, it's kind of hard to show off Excel projects, but we'll save portfolios for another session. But yes, this is an example of you can add links and places to other places like your portfolio in your About Me section, because you never know where someone's going to go, where a recruiter is going to go on your profile. Then you always want these little touch points to send them to your portfolio at any chance you get. So if we go from About Me right down to Activity, that's showing me that we are missing the featured section. Again, add a featured section, link to 3 individual portfolio projects, and then add a thumbnail. I can already tell my voice is going out. Activity. So you're posting very recently. You're reposting other data people, Jess Ramos, Don Chu, you're reposting me as Maven Analytics, Don Chu, Chris France. Okay, so you're heavily active in the data community. Reposts are great, but they don't get much reach. So reposts are good for the poster. So I would say definitely it doesn't hurt to repost other people's posts, but if you were to post your own posts, they get a little bit more reach, and then that gives someone like a recruiter a little bit more insights on how you are as a person, because they can just, let's say, read this post, for instance, and see how you come off as a person, because how they determine you as a person goes through their head as they're on your profile. So that's really what we want to drive them towards. Like, they like what they see when they land on your profile. So keep doing that, but just start posting a little bit more from yourself instead of reposting all the time. Experience, let's see. I would say you have a lot of experience and you've been a data analyst, or at least an analyst, for quite some time. I would just probably list a little bit more out here. So I just think it's a little light. So I do like that you're doing it in bullet points, which is fantastic. I'd probably keep things consistent and make this a bullet point if you make the other ones a bullet point. Provided monthly follow-up care to patients with chronic. Okay, so Again, this is an example of a person listing out what they're doing, but not what their outcome of what they're doing did when they were at their job. So definitely put the thinking cap on. What did this line item help you achieve? Or what was the outcome of your project and how did it help the business in any way? That's what we're looking for to add here. Let's scroll down. You got education, licenses. So you are a Tableau desktop specialist, which is what I assumed, which is great. Cool. And that's about all I would do. If we go look at our URL, so this is an example of, this is probably what LinkedIn gave you to begin with. So again, if you joined late, if you want to change your public profile URL, that you go to your own profile, hit this pencil icon in the top right, take you to this page, and then over here on the right, again, you can change it real quick and hit save. I like to use my name. If your name is taken, put a dash. You could put, I don't know, initials or something like that. But that's really, we just want it to be a clean URL. So I think that would be it as far as everyone that we had for tonight. We actually went over a little bit, but not too bad. So if anyone has any questions for what we went through, or you need me to revisit something, now's your chance. Definitely let me know. If you have a question about anything else, let me know, and we can go ahead and answer that right now. So we do have a question. One final question. With the continued advancement of AI, how do you anticipate the data analyst role and job market? How will it evolve? So, as a data analyst myself, and I am posting frequently, and people ask this a lot. I will not kid you. This is probably the most common question and scare that people have about how AI will affect this job role in general, or very specifically. So I use it every day on the job to help me out, to make me faster, to I use it for content creation, for a number of things. So that is probably a tool set that I utilize constantly. Um, but where it lacks is business context. And I want to emphasize that most companies that I've worked at, and actually as a consultant that I work for when we're doing projects for them, we're not allowed to put their data into AI. Security reasons, plain and simple. So that's roadblock number one, that there's tons of companies out there that can't even utilize AI in a way because it goes against their compliance. Like there's just too many security variables that will ruin if their info got out there into the public eye. Um, so that's one thing to consider. Will that get better? I'm sure it will. But business context on when I'm doing a project, it doesn't know the nuances of presentation, or sure, it can go find things. It can help you with debugging and help you with syntax and do your job faster and easier, but it's not to a level to where it could take your position. At least I don't see it that way at all. Like not even close. I see it as the people who use it, learn the bleeding edge technology. That makes you a better data analyst, and you can run circles about around the people who are not using it. So I would lean into using AI, but be good at it to where you are better than the other analysts not using AI. So that's how I would probably position myself with using AI. Now, as far as the job market, how that evolves, bigger companies might get rid of some data analysts that are kind of like I don't know how to put it, but like I guess just people not doing too much work like in the consulting world. In the consulting world, it's different. So where I'm going at is like if you're someone who gets a task day to day, day to day, and you perform that task, and then you deliver that task, but it was like a simple query that you had to deliver. Um, yeah, your position is probably getting replaced. But if you're a consultant like me and I have to do an end-to-end solution that covers multiple tools, and I also have to do weekly stand-ups with the client, and then give them project updates, and then talk to them on calls to get business business logic down and all of that. Like, there's no way AI can do all of that and get all these tools to talk. Um, sure, it can help me connect things, but it's not going to actually do that work for me. It's just definitely not in a place to help out there. But yeah, I think again, lean into AI, become really good using it, and just let it amplify your own work. But just make sure you know the security ramifications of throwing anything into it, that could be found somewhere else if someone were to, like, I don't know, prompt engineer inject or something like that. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Let's see. All right. Last call for any other questions. We will give it one more minute. Make sure I have anything else to go over. Awesome. Well, no other questions. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And I am trying to do these more often. So definitely come join Analyst Hive. If you're not a member yet, it is free. Um, you can probably find it in the description below. Once you're in there, definitely come say hi. You'll go right to this welcome page. You could come to the general chat, come say hi. I'll be there. It's really where I go to talk to people. And then this is also where, uh, if you want to put a project to get reviewed live in a session like this, um, I will probably put a poll out or try to get other people to put projects there. I do any events or webinars directly in our community. So definitely this is a place to go to get the most up-to-date information of whenever I'm doing something. And also, if you don't want to get um, live feedback like this, you could still get feedback from other people and including me within Analyst Hive. So you can also get help no matter where you are in your data journey. Come join Analyst Hive. I'm there. We have a ton of people here. And until next time, friends, I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you.